Okay, it's Colonel Cliff Soreen. Um, I was trying to give you an update on what's going on with Fogelus, my sergeant. Last week, he was on the run. He was being chased by a Draco Reptillian. It's not unusual, we're chased by them all the time. And usually, what we do is we trap them. We try not to kill them. We trap them. And we had this one all pretty much trapped. And then, well, we were way up in Alaska, and it was a cave. We were using a natural cave, and there was some giant icicles hanging from the front of the cave. And, well, we got the reptilian inside the cave. That's where he was hiding from us. Almost sounds like a Sasquatch story, but that's where the things were. They used a natural cave, and it was, they had it all sealed off. They had a steel door hidden back from the cave entrance, so you couldn't get in. And that's where they were in their secret base. Anyway, Sergeant Fogelus was coming out of the cave, and this giant icicle, it was like a stalactite, it let go. And it didn't like cut him in half, but it was a giant one. It must have weighed 10 pounds. And, this was not a small cave. This was a large cave. You could walk right in, and the cave was way above. It was like 15 feet above my head. It's an enormous cave. And this thing came crashing down, and, well, it knocked him over. Well, he had to go for medical. And they say now he's got to go to physiotherapy. He's got bruises all over the place because it knocked him over. So it hit him, and then he fell over. So anyway, I'm without my sergeant. And what they're going to do is they're going to send me some newbie. FNG. No one understands that when you've got someone completely new, they don't know how I operate. I mean, Fogelus, God bless him, he knows how I operate, and I chew him out continuously, but he knows that it's because it's joking more than anything. He's the best sergeant in the army, and he gives it back to me. Don't you worry about it. But anyway, he's off. I don't know how long he's off for, and they're sending me a new guy. I don't know anything about the new one. So I'm basically running around on my own with this new guy when he shows up, because I've got to sort of... I mean, they've got the files, they can read the reports, but it's not the same as being there. I've just been with Fogelus for so long. He knows me inside and out. It's like, we've got like a connection. So if I go here, he goes there, and we know what we're doing. So it takes time to build a rapport with a new guy or a gal. I don't know what they're going to send me. They could send me an extraterrestrial, geez. I mean, they keep expecting that, they're going to announce first contact, that we have relations with extraterrestrials officially. I don't know. I mean, nobody believes mainstream news. They don't cover anything about the Draco Reptilian. They don't cover anything about the Illuminatis or the Cabals. Well, mostly because they're owned by the Illuminati Cabal. And, nothing about the secret space program. Nothing about the El Segundo Mars jump room. Nothing about our colonies on Mars and various other places. I mean, how do you educate the general population that is so conditioned to believe that we're the only ones in the universe? And I mean, they're so busy with their video games and watching, I don't know what TV they're watching now, the Kardashians and Big Brother. I'm sorry. So anyways, it's very difficult to tell people, what's really going on. They all think it's science fiction, but, we've been looking at sci-fi things since the 1950s, And you think by now some of this stuff might have come real? I'm sorry, people still believe everything is science fiction and none of it could possibly happen. So that's why we're driving around in the same kind of gasoline engines they invented around 1900. And, our airplanes are really, I guess fly by wire was the 1980s, but, the jet engines were, the first ones were in the 1940s. We haven't, the general population has not seen technology. We haven't. There's nothing new, you know. So, anyway, what is the status of our campaign against the Draco? Well, it seems like the more we find, the more there is. We get into this cave and then we had to blow the steel door off to get inside. And then, we've got to get into their computer systems. And then we've got somebody who's an expert in reading Draco. And they get in there. And all they find is that there's more and more and more. They've got stuff everywhere. And, we've got a very small budget to go after them. It's like we have to hide it in the black budget, in sort of a black budget, like super deep, because, the Illuminati, if they know that we're going after them, they'll cut off our budget and, we'll be back to the motor pool changing oil. So we got to keep it very buried and, we got to hide. I don't know. It's almost like how the CIA does things. We got to have so many fronts before you get to us. And I'm not allowed to tell you how many are in our group. The Canadians have their own separate group, just so you know. And it's not that JTF2. It's their... I shouldn't have even said that. Anyways, there are a number of countries that have got task force like us, and I can't tell you who our commanding general is. I cannot tell you anything other than the fact that we are very busy at work. And could we use more help? Absolutely. We could use a lot more technology, mostly, because it takes a lot of time to get into their computers. I mean, they get stuff it's not made, by Apple. It's off-planet stuff that they get. And they've got such a mishmash of stuff. It seems like every time we get into one new base, it's like a different computer system. I mean, we've got some real whiz kids that can get into these things. But even for them, it takes a long time. And while we're trying to figure it out, the Draco, they know that we're in there, and then they start moving all their operations around somewhere else. So it's very hard to smoke them out of these caves. And now that I don't have Fogalis, it's like, well, I've lost my right-hand man. I don't know. Little by little, we're working on this. What you can do is... well, just talk about it on your YouTubes, on your Instagrams, on your Facebooks. When you're playing video games, and you're talking to somebody else, talk about how we've got people that are going after the Draco reptilians on Earth, and just, make it public. Because the more public it is, then the more likely we're going to get more funding, because we can come out of hiding. I'm Colonel Cliff Soreen.